Welcome in my parcel of Vionnier. This parcel is called Cabrières. We are very close to the chain of mountain Les Cévennes. And as you can see, I work this parcel and my other wines, my other vineyards. I leave the grass on the ground because that helps me to gain in biodiversity. And also because we are slightly on slopes. So when it's raining, I don't have the earth going down to my parcel, and also I have a much better penetration of the water in the ground. So what is interesting, for the white, for instance, I use a new technique. Everybody is used to see pneumatic press and always everything, no oxidation and nothing like that. And I do completely the opposite. That's why I have beside me a very old press called Vaseline. And what I do, I on purpose oxidate the must. So before it's a wine, it's just a juice of grape. We call that the must. I oxidate it on purpose. And then the second step, that is called débourbage. That means you refresh at 4 degrees Celsius temperature the juice, and then you get rid of all what was oxidated and all the big elements. So that helps me to use no SO2 at all up to the time I put the wine in the barrels. And even when I put the wine in the barrels, I do not use yet SO2. So that means after this vinification, I bring the wine to the cellar barrel, and we're gonna go there and I explain you how I work in the cellar barrel. So what is interesting with the stainless steel barrels, why to use that? I always give as an example what a normal oak barrels bring. You have three main exchange with an oak barrel. You have the exchange, of course, with the oak, in terms of tannins, in terms of aromatically as well. You have an exchange with the air because the wood let breathe and bring some air. And then the last contact you have, exchange, is the contact with the fine lees, which is very important. And the fine lees, in the right condition, when they are widespread, very thin and no pressure on it, bring a lot of things, and this is really what I want to get in those barrels. Fine lees, no oxidation, and no oak, or if I bring oak, I use the staves, and I can choose how much of oak I bring. So the lees in those barrels, also in the normal barrels, in the right condition, first they capture all the oxygen in form of bubble that is not yet combined to the wine. So it traps this oxygen. So it's a natural barrier against oxidation. And then the second thing, which is very important, is that the lees, we call it, the French word is polymérisation des lees. Sorry, in English I don't know, but that means all the lees, after a certain time of contact with the wine, start to disintegrate. Let's say after 3-4 months, they start to disintegrate and they release polysaccharide. And polysaccharides, the more you have in the wine and the more complex wine you have, the more length you have. So the idea really in those barrels is to get this complexity, to get this freshness, because no oxidation, and in the same time to use very little SO2 again, to have, it's not natural wine, but almost, so that barrels helps me for that. So all my selection, after vinificated upstairs, I bring them here downstairs in my cellar barrel. So here the two Mosaïque, white and red. And first I want to explain you why Mosaïque. Actually, you know, Mosaïque, it's small pieces you put together to make something bigger. So that's exactly the same idea here. It's first of all a mosaic of grapes. In the white there are 6 grapes. In the red, there are up to 4 grapes, different grapes. And then it's also a mosaic of different soil, because for this wine, I use my own vines plus sourcing as well. And I source in Pic Saint-Loup, I source in La Clappe, I source in Terrasse du Larzac, and then I bring the wine to the Languedoc AOP level, and so that I can really build up a blend and a style of wine. So the idea of the mosaic is really a Mediterranean wine, but with a lot of fineness, a lot of freshness. So let's start by the white. So 18 vintage, it's made a blend of Vermentino, Grenache Blanc, Bourboulenc, Roussanne, Marsanne, and Viognier. The first nose is always a little bit close. It needs some aeration, but just 30 seconds. And already, when you move it, you have a development of aromas. So you are really on the white flower, slightly honey, apricot, a little bit mentally. So quite complex and rich nose. And then on the palate, the idea, as I said, its first mouth has to be quite round, very charming, but the end is crispy and fresh. So you end really with something fresh on the tongue, so you feel to have another glass after. So it's quite, let's say, full-bodied wine, but with a lot of freshness and quite elegant. There are selection of old Syrah, Mourvèdre and Grenache that gives a lot of intensity to the wine. So on the nose, you have really black fruit aromas, red berries as well, but very ripened black fruit with note of spiciness, because one part is aged in stainless steel barrels, but with the staves, just to bring a hint of spiciness. And then the mouth, as I said, full-bodied. There are tannins, but soft and very, we call it narrow tannins. That means they are just next to each other, so it's quite a velvety sensation. This wine is perfect with, I'm a fan of steak, T-bone steak. So T-bone steak, fresh pepper, this is perfect. But every meat, barbecue, things like that is just perfect. So 18 vintage, that is gonna age still 5 years more, I think. So here we go.